Welcome to Joyfully Yours podcast. I'm your host, Tanya.
And I'm Kimberly, and we have a very special guest in the house today, and I'm so excited. This is Kristen Elaine Whalen, and she's a Dallas-based artist and founder of Flowers with Legs, a trademarked art brand born from a season of deep personal healing. Kristen was also a former New York City fashion photographer. Ooh. Yes, fancy. Can't wait to hear all about that. And she now uses her watercolor to bring her faith, creativity, and joy to life. One flower, one stiletto, an occasional cowboy boot to life, right?
It's true, especially here in Texas.
Yes, definitely. And we are so happy to have you here because for a couple of reasons, but you are very inspiring. You are all joy. And that's how we try to live our life.
That's right.
But you designed our logo.
Yes, it's very
true.
Perfect fit.
Yes.
So awesome.
So we are so excited because, trying to start a company or podcast or whatever, probably one of the hardest things because you can't really jump or go is your logo because you have to, brand your stuff.
Yeah.
And we were kind of struggling with some things and nothing was just really nothing fit. Nothing was inspiring. Nothing, said joy. Mm-hmm. And one day I was at our favorite coffee shop and I had seen you paint before, but I really didn't get a chance to see what this was all about. And I was leaving and I saw one of your pieces and I saw like the little brown legs and I took a picture of it and I sent it to Tanya.
Yes.
And I was like, I think this is it.
Yes.
Do you think, and I think I was already following you or maybe I started following you and I sent you a text and you were on the beach with your family and you were still so kind and so generous to respond to me and say that you would love to do that. So we love our logo.
We love our logo.
We love it. It makes me so happy.
So happy. So joyful.
So yes. And we love seeing it on everything. We have some fun stuff coming up that we're also going to put it on. But I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah. So what kind of inspired you to not really knowing us to?
Well, the funny thing was, because you guys now, you are Flowers with Legs. You know what I mean? Like the whole brand is, there's different types of women in the world. And there's a certain type that I'm really inspired by. And that is, she takes care of herself. She blooms. I mean, there's no other way to put it. She blooms. She appreciates beauty. She loves shoes.
Yes.
Those are my favorite.
Yes, me too.
Yes. And there's a happiness and a joy in her. And it's, playful and it's, spur of the moment. And for some reason that came through in that first phone call, the fact that you had really resonated with, and that actually, the one that you saw was inspired by one of our favorite friends, Katie's fantastic, gorgeous brown legs.
She does have good legs.
So beyond.
Share the workout, Katie.
Yes, please.
Help us out, Katie.
Exactly. And so,
I didn't know that.
Because she had called and just said, do you want me to use, because we were advertising for the event that you attended. And she said, do you want me to just use one of your pieces that you've already shown? I said, oh no, let me whip you up something new.
Which was inspired. That's creative.
Very.
Those are creative people. Let me just whip it up.
Yeah. And because when you're inspired as an artist, it's like this.
I love that.
That's good.
So I feel like the fact that you resonated with that one told me exactly who you were.
Okay.
Like all I needed to hear was that one resonated with you. And I knew I could see the whole thing. Yeah. These are classy ladies, colorful, joyful, and they appreciate fashion. So you made it easy.
Well, thank you. We're so grateful.
We are. And one of the things we love to do on Joyfully Yours is hear people's stories. So before we start talking about the art, I have a question for you. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are today and what life looks for you right now?
Ooh.
And actually, you can kind of go back to what we were sharing earlier.
Okay.
Your cool journey. I'm so in awe of that journey.
Yes, quite a story. Well, I always tell people I have a lot of stories.
Okay.
And I believe that's because I pray a lot. And I think that when you are constantly in prayer, it opens you up to God doing things.
Yes.
Because we can do a lot of things ourselves and it just looks like normal human things.
Right.
But when we pray about our lives, I just think that mountains move.
Yes.
That's so good.
There have been a lot of mountains moved in my life. And I will say, looking at my life right now, I am so thankful because I feel like this is the best it's ever been. Like this moment right now is like my heart is whole. I feel healed. I feel free. I feel ready.
It's great.
So I don't know what for other than what God's already doing with Flowers with Legs, but it's sort of a culmination of my whole life story in my art now. It's like I'm living it's like everything came together and I'm walking it out right now.
I
So
love
it's
that.
a very magical
You gave me
moment.
goosebumps.
I
Just
know.
me too.
Twice.
Seriously,
Yes,
seriously
twice.
gave
Yes.
me goosebumps.
That's so good.
That's really good.
That must be God.
So how did you get to Flowers with Legs? Where
Okay.
did you start your journey?
So I will say I feel like the journey started as a little girl
Okay.
because I remember this gorgeous, bright teal art box that I'd gotten for Christmas. I think I asked for that exact one, and it was filled with art supplies. And I always wanted to be an artist, knew I'd be an artist. Like if you read my journals from 4th grade, like I will be an artist.
Wow.
And so I always knew that I wanted, that life. But as you grow up and you get older, and I always took every art class imaginable, but as you get older, you start living in reality.
Yes.
And you start seeing your limitations, and you're being told your limitations
That's good.
by other people. And so other people's voices become much louder than your own and the voice of God.
Amen.
And so fast forward to me graduating college and feeling like everyone really resonated with my photography. And so I chose to be a photographer instead of a painter. And I will say my paintings were so bad in college. Not good. Like I was almost better as a child than when I got to college. I was like, this is not like as much as I want to be this painter, like it's just not going to happen.
Okay.
So I chose photography. And pretty quickly I got into the fashion scene because just my own passions. And I've always been drawn to clothes and design and style, and found myself in New York City. The way I got a job, my first job, you don't really hear of this anymore, but I went to a temp agency and I said to her, get me into the fashion industry. Wow. And she said, well, we don't really get jobs like that, but I'll keep you in mind if I hear anything. I'm a praying woman.
That's a God moment.
So I was on my knees. Within the week,
That's great.
I hear back from the temp agency that the editor-in-chief of Harper's Bazaar magazine needed a second assistant. So I don't know if you've ever seen The Devil Wears Prada.
Yes.
That was my job. That girl who was like brought to tears. I mean, like that
Throwing
was
the
my
clothes on your desk.
Yes, that was my job. And the editor-in-chief at the time, Kate Betts, was actually Anna Wintour's protege.
Really?
And she had come from the New York Times. So my first boss in New York City was Meryl Streep in The Devil Wears Prada.
Oh my goodness.
So and this is so interesting, I think, because I'm a child of God and I know who I am in Christ, like I was not shaken or rattled by people.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, all these young, editors, fashion directors in their giant stilettos, are like coming in so nervous to go into the office and I just was very peaceful. So I feel like just like where I'm at now, it's like God gave me just direction of what I should be doing. And I started running to all the different editors when I would have some downtime. And I would say, is there anything you need done? Do you need coffee? Do you need to return a VHS tape? Back
VHS tape.
Right? So I would run their errands.
Yeah.
And slowly I ended up landing a job in their art department and worked as the photo research editor. So I was learning. This is, I think, why I'm doing what I do today is I was literally in charge of pulling all the images of socialites, celebrities, so I'm really getting to know who's who in fashion and art, the art world. It all, even though I wasn't taking pictures or painting, it was like I was just inundated, fashion, art, photography. So then, because I'm an undercover photographer working in the photo department, I started bringing my cameras to events. And eventually they started printing my images. And then they started sending me out in the middle of a work day to photograph like the New York City Ballet or
my
whatever it was. So I'm
goodness.
running all over the city,
Yes.
taking pictures. And before I knew it, I was, making enough money to leave my
Right.
full-time position. And I remember, because I was on the fence, it's scary to leave your full-time job
Yes.
for a freelance situation.
Yes.
And I received a call that morning. I had been in prayer and I received a call from the mother of someone who I photographed. And she was like, "You are worth your weight in gold."
Wow.
She said to me. And I knew
Wow.
that was the affirmation God
Wow.
That was
Words are
gave
so
me of like,
powerful.
stand out in faith that you're going to be okay. And so I did photography in the fashion industry up until my son was born in I actually shot my last because once I was, years later, I really struggled with fertility and it took 7 years to get pregnant with my son. And we had kind of tried all the natural ways. We had thought of doing IVF and different things, but because God's timing has always been so significant in my life, I just really felt like, women who are told they will never have children have children.
That's right.
Yep.
So I always felt like if God has for me to be a mom, he's going to do it.
Oh, I love that.
And so I shot my last fashion gig because everyone said, "You're too busy. You're too stressed." Because I was shooting really important, being introduced by name to like Tom Hanks and Bill Clinton and
Wow.
you know what I mean? Like, and then I have to take their picture and then the publication needs the photo immediately. It was just high stress.
High stress.
Right.
And so I said, you know what? I'm going to give this one last shot. I'm going to step down,
Okay.
literal one last shot,
Mhm.
step down as a photographer. I was pregnant within 2 weeks.
Come on now.
It's like my body just
Come
relaxed.
on.
Good.
That is
It's like
awesome.
finally.
Mhm.
And so
Wow.
becoming a mom, the story, and I can share this later of how it turned into painting.
Mhm.
That's sort of
No,
another
please
story.
go.
Do you want me to
Yes,
tell you?
tell the
Okay.
story.
So in the midst of my infertility and, with my faith, I grew up, so in the Bible, it talks about different people being given different measures of faith.
That's
it's
right.
almost like a gift.
It's
Right.
a gift. Yeah.
I feel like I inherited
The gift of
that
faith.
gift from a long line of very faithful believers in Christ and I feel like my mom and dad, not only did I see them on their knees every morning
Wow.
in prayer and still do when they come to visit me because they can't hear as well now.
Right.
So they can't tell that I can hear when
Right.
they're upstairs and they're praying
They're
before bed and they're
praying.
praying
Yes.
for all of us.
Amen.
And
So good.
and I was able to see miracles in the way God works because they were in prayer like that.
Right.
So I was given that faith that when you pray, things happen.
Yes.
So it was quite jolting for me in my early 30s when I could not get pregnant.
That's good.
Because that, I will say, I think that is the first time in my whole life that I wrestled with God. It's like I was born into a Christian family. I never doubted.
Right.
And when my body couldn't do something so basic that is almost like your God-given female right to bear children.
Right.
Exactly.
I just never thought, you hear horror stories of
Right.
women who cannot get pregnant,
Right.
but you never think it's going
It's
to
not
be
happening to you.
ever. So when I realized, okay, I am, who is it in the Bible? Sarah.
Sarah.
And you
Hannah.
realize Hannah's the one know. And so I just really struggled. And I also had some family stuff. I had never seen my parents go through hardship before because they also had faith and they were going through something that I will say of all the things I've been through, watching my parents go through something rattled me. I think it was, we all grew up a little codependent with our family's feelings and watching my parents. I was literally, my hands, I couldn't stop them from shaking. And I was still pretty busy with my photography at that time. And I also had a lot of anger. I was struggling in my marriage at the time because my marriage ended up being a very, just heartbreaking the whole time. So I had a lot going on that I didn't understand as a faithful believer who feels protected. I always felt protected. And all of a sudden, I felt abandoned. I felt like there's no umbrella over me anymore. Like I'm just
out there.
floundering out there. I did not know. And so one afternoon. Because when you struggle, when you're really suffering, you're grieving.
Yeah.
It is so hard to feel like anyone knows how you're feeling.
That's right.
And you walk around, you can share what's going on with you, but people have no idea what you need or how to comfort you or relate to you. And so I was finding that when I would walk the streets of New York City, for some reason, every once in a while, I would see in people's eyes that they knew the suffering that I was feeling. And I started doing that more and more, walking around, because I felt like I just need to get away from all these people that aren't suffering and be around the people who are suffering, because I feel somehow better. And I found myself starting to go to art galleries, which I had stayed away from since I dated an artist in college and he broke my heart. And I just ran. I was like, I will never look at another painting.
I'm done with art. I'm done with art.
I literally was like all these artists, Picasso and all these painters that don't treat their women right. So all of a sudden I found myself back in an art gallery and started looking at the different artwork and realized these people are suffering. Like I am literally seeing paintings being made by people who are living through the war and like women who've gone through what I'm going through now, infertility or child loss. And I had lost a pregnancy at that point. And so I just painting and art really began to resonate with me. And I started to feel like, well, if they could put their pain on canvas, then maybe I should try to start doing that. So I
find that interesting that you talked about as a child, you wanted to be an artist, but then limitations and financial and all the grown-up reasons to not pursue that brought you to this place of pain, but that the healing power began with the return to something that you loved as a child.
Wow, that's so good.
I just got chills now.
Yes, that's so good,
I do
Tanya.
think there's really something to that.
Yeah.
Because for some reason, this has been in my mind this morning as I've been praying about this podcast, is what doesn't kill you makes you well, it kind of forces you into that position where you go back to who you were as a child.
Who you were as a child.
And like, what did I actually want in life? Like, what was I,
So the thing that often disappoints us is the thing that brings us healing.
Yes.
When we're open. So it's like when you saw in other people's eyes as you were walking, hope.
Yes.
That they can identify.
Yes.
It drew you back to something that was always there, but just stuff was on top of it.
Thank you for making sense of my story.
So
as he does that.
As this stuff began to shake off, you got back to the core of who you are.
Can I call you every day?
Yes, you can. Because you're inspiring me. I'm like, I need to have coffee with you. Because your story's just really resonating with me. And because when I look at you, I see the essence of our podcast, joy. So
thank God.
Even when you're telling your story, there's joy.
Yes.
So that's a big part of what we want to do, is to inspire people with everyday moments of joy, even though it's hard.
Even through the hard times, even when there's healing that needs to happen.
Yeah.
Yes, your story is very inspiring.
That's the thing is, joy doesn't come cheap.
No.
It does not.
And you have to fight for it.
That part.
You have to fight hard to keep it.
To keep it.
Because the world
will
and
try
life
to take
will
it.
just in every step, it'll.
And we talk about that a lot on our podcast too, and encouraging, especially young women, that you have to seek it too.
Yes.
You have to just be open to it. You just can't expect to, okay, I want to be joyful today.
I know.
Yes. It doesn't work that way.
It does not.
But it doesn't work that way.
No.
So
We can
every
try.
day it's we can try, but every day it's a choice. But it can happen every day.
Yeah.
But you have to seek it and just
That's
be
right.
open to it.
So in those moments of infertility, and like you said, my body was built to give birth, but I'm not getting pregnant. How did you maintain? I know you mentioned prayer, going to museums, but were there other practical things that you did that?
I went to Paris 4 or 5 times.
Ooh, Paris will do it. That will do it.
Well, and Paris became very significant for me in that time because infertility stopped me in my tracks. And I thought to myself, well, everyone around me is having beautiful babies. What can I do right now that they cannot do right now?
Right.
Like, what can I, so I can't have kids. What other dreams have I had?
I love that.
And so I followed those dreams, you know, I always had a dream of being an artist. I always loved flowers. I always wanted to go to Paris. And I love fashion. And so I really started pursuing those things in the meantime. And all the while praying constantly of, God, what does it look like to wait on you? Because this is ripping me apart.
This is hard.
And how do I cling to you and keep my faith when I'm just in so much pain?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
I could have used your friendship about 20, 30 years ago because I went through infertility too, 5 years of trying to get pregnant. But I didn't go to Paris. I was faithful. I believed it would happen. I just knew it would because of my faith. And I've been on my knees praying for it. And again, you're a woman, you're supposed to be able to have children, but I didn't go to Paris.
I don't wish it on anyone.
No.
Because I have friends that have been through it and the years you put into treatments and what you put your body through and all of that, we all have to follow the path we feel God has for us.
Yes.
And you just never know how treacherous and painful or easy or beautiful. You just don't know when you grab God's hand, like what the journey will be.
So how long was it from that moment until you had your son?
Which moment?
From the moment of I'm in Paris, I'm doing what I can do. You're living.
Right. When you decide to start living.
Yes.
So when I decided to start living, you know, bought myself a Celine bag. And
what did you do in Paris is what I want to know.
I bought that Celine bag. No, but I literally started painting in Paris. That's where Flowers with Legs was born, was in the Jardin du Luxembourg in Paris.
Lovely.
So
our logo has Paris roots.
Yes,
we are fancy.
We are fancy.
For sure. Very French.
That's right. That's right. And yes, you both are fancy. That's without a doubt. But so Flowers with Legs was created before I got miraculously pregnant with my child. I got pregnant in the fall of 2015. And the last time I went to Paris was 2013.
Wow.
Which was interesting. I don't know if I should share this story, but I was coming home very late from a dinner with a girlfriend, with some friends we met out. And we were riding our bicycles because I convinced her.
Because we're in Paris.
I've got on like 5-inch stilettos. I've got on like 5-inch stilettos and like high-end handbags, you know, and I'm, you know, no one can touch me. I'm
Paris.
Living my best.
Yes, I love it. I would love to see a picture of that.
So you'd have sent us a picture.
Please share.
We're going to post it to our social media because I think all of us need to see that.
Yes.
And I felt untouchable. I was like, I'm not a mom, but I'm fabulous.
Right. Yes.
Well, my friend, who was much more aware of our surroundings at 2 or 3 in the morning, said to me, that car is following us.
Oh.
And I was like, no, it's not. Like I kept telling her, like, you're seeing things. Out of nowhere, when we go to park our bikes, a man gets out of a car with 3 other people.
Oh my goodness.
Grabs my Leffler Randall. Is it Randall Leffler? No, Leffler Randall handbag. And I was like, I don't know about you guys. You never know what you're going to do in that moment. You don't. And I do feel bad that it's like fight or flight. I fight. And I was like, there was 2 handles and we were like wrestling and I'm screaming. I'm like, you grabbed the wrong woman. Like I was like from behind, my hair was really long and I was like, I probably look like some teenage, like, and I turn around and I'm like, I came out of my face. And he startled. I terrified him. He eventually let go, did not get a thing, started running and I'm like chasing after him.
Oh my gosh.
On your bike?
Well, I had just pulled in
her stiletto heels.
In my heels. And I'm like, and the whole street is silent. It's 3:00 in the morning. There's like older women waiting for a bus. There's still people on the street and they're all like, because I'm sure in Paris, you don't really see a woman.
No,
an American woman.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's in New York, but not in Paris.
They were like this. And I go, yeah. And then they all started clapping and then they called the cops and all of that. But that was the last time I went to Paris.
Wow.
And
he messed with the wrong
one.
He did. But it also made me realize, okay, you know, you've been just living your best life, but it is time to live in reality. And it kind of brought me back to this place where, you know, I stopped running from the pain and comforting myself. And I just really, you know, started paying attention to, I guess, I just was still working, and I don't know. It took, because then the terrorist attacks happened in Paris, and I just felt like, okay, I will return to Paris eventually. I still dream about it all the time, but I knew that was my last
a God
trip
moment
for a while.
for you.
Right.
It was
for protection.
It was,
yeah, and transition.
Because what happened was, because I wasn't going back and forth, I literally started making flowers with legs, and then they started taking off.
Wow.
And people
in New York.
So then I'm in New York. I'm in my little
okay.
studio making my flowers with legs. And I started getting calls about, like, from Sephora and Brides Magazine, and like, can you make these live for brides? And can,
oh my goodness.
and a big jeweler on Madison Avenue hired me to do their advertising for their catalog, all their jewelry with my flowers with legs. And so I had, within that time, I had to get insured for like $6 or $8 million.
Wow.
So that I could be playing with their jewelry. I got to play with it and make my flowers with legs, like, walking on a tightrope with this, because it was all like vintage Tiffany jewelry and stuff like that. So
that's cool.
Anyway, that was all. It took my mind off the infertility.
Were you just loving?
I was living.
Season? Yes,
I was again. I started to really feel like, okay, I'm not getting this dream, but I am becoming an artist, which was another dream I had that I forgot about, because you're trying to just live the life everyone tells you you're supposed to live. You're supposed to have a career, get married, have children, and that's your life.
2.5 children.
Have we talked about that?
You're supposed to have 2.5 children.
Does it keep coming up?
Well, it's
in
the
our,
reality
especially in
of
our
life.
generation.
Right. It's like there is nothing. Like you don't.
You have a passion. You have a purpose.
Right.
You can be brave.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. You need to have a job to pay your bills.
Yes. And don't go outside the lines.
Right. Yeah. No one ever asks about what our passions.
What do you really want to do?
Exactly. And we've tried to be different with our
children.
I think it's just a generational thing, though.
Yeah.
They didn't know.
They didn't know.
No one ever asked them either. So.
I'm so glad you're saying this, because I haven't thought that way with my child.
That's
yet
great.
Either. You don't think about it,
That's
even though I've lived it out. It's like a great reminder to
definitely
raise them to be thinking and paying attention, to
and believe that they can do anything,
and they're supported by you.
Supported through whatever that looks like.
That you don't cast them aside because they don't follow some script that you want them to follow. So that's one of the things we talk about a lot with our children, is that God gave them a gift when he sent them into the earth, and it's our job to steward the gift, not kill the gift or redefine the gift, but find that out and help them transition from where they are to where God wants them to be. So
wow. I have never heard two mothers say that.
Oh. Well,
ever.
We believe wholeheartedly in that.
That is, you got to spread that word.
Which is what drew us together. We would talk a lot at coffee. Before we even had this podcast, we would sit and talk about all these things. And it was so strange that I found someone who identified with the way I was thinking.
Yes, the way we were trying to parent our children.
In my life, I've never heard that spoken by a mom. And you guys have older children.
Yes.
It's not like they're in preschool or third grade like mine. Like you actually,
we have adult children.
Adult children.
Yes,
you're looking it down and you're like, I believe and I trust. Even
And the beautiful thing about that is we both have great relationships with our adult children. They invite us into their lives. So we can do life. It's beautiful though, because we can do life with them and they invite us in without having to feel forced.
Right.
Wow.
Yes.
And that's why they want you there. Because you're hands off.
Yes.
You're like,
I'm sitting in the passenger seat.
Yes. Wow. Tanya came up with something.
God gave me this analogy that when my children all got to a certain age, that I would move from the driver's seat to the passenger seat.
Isn't that good?
And if you've ever been around people who are learning how to drive, the worst thing is to have someone tell you, did you see that car? Like they bring the anxiety.
Right.
And so the Lord would tell me, when you're in the car, make sure you don't get put out of the car. Watch what you say.
Wow.
They are driving now, and I'm now giving them vision for their route. You don't know their route anymore.
Whoa.
The driver knows the route. And so as you're sitting in the passenger seat, your job is to encourage them. Your job is to hear what's in their heart and then offer wisdom if asked.
Wow.
But for me, it's been ever since she said that, and we have some very specific examples where we both had to realize,
Get in the passenger
like
seat.
very specific things. It's
Yes.
time to be in the, he doesn't, my son doesn't care what I think he needs in his apartment in California.
Right.
Because it's his
And
apartment.
so why am I worrying about going out to spend more money on his,
It's so
his
fun to
apartment?
decorate.
I know, but if he
your son,
doesn't,
it's true.
right? If he doesn't,
Nobody wants that.
Right. On the other
It's
hand,
like
my daughter would let me,
But her daughter has
decorate her.
different opinions.
Yeah, she has different
Right.
opinions, right? But it's very freeing.
It's very
too,
freeing.
to just wait to be
Release.
asking. Yeah, to release and not feel like you have to have every answer.
Right.
And a lot of times, still, when I'm talking to one of my kids, especially probably in my daughter's situation, I'll wait to be asked. I
Right.
don't. Typically, as a mother, we want to jump in with
Yes.
the answers, but it's so nice.
So glad you
Sometimes
two
I
have
jump
a-
in the
yeah.
car in the driver's seat, and then
Mhm.
my children know, Mom, you're in the
Mhm.
wrong seat.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm like, you're right. Let
Yep.
me get back over.
Mhm.
Because I appreciate the fact that they know, even though I may fail sometimes,
Right.
Yeah.
that they know my heart is to ride with them,
Right.
not drive for them. And so I'm accountable to them even for that. And so I think that's a beautiful thing, that we can have conversation. And so it's no more mother telling children,
Mm-mm.
it's more mother friendship with children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
What age do you feel like that would start?
For me,
The
each
passenger
one of
seat.
them, it happened when
Oh.
they got to college.
Mhm.
Okay, so I have time.
Mhm.
You have a
Yeah.
lot of
Oh,
time.
you have a lot of time.
Okay.
Keep driving, girl. Keep driving. You got to drive all the way until
Stay
they
on
leave
your-
your house.
Okay.
Stay on your knees and
Yes.
keep driving.
Keep
No,
driving.
this is when,
Great
they're in
advice.
college.
Okay.
And I actually think a couple of times it started when they were like seniors in high school,
Mhm. Yes,
because I
that's
started
true.
thinking there's probably some things I want to see them do now, so that I can kind of oversee and
Okay.
direct them. So
Okay.
there were a couple of times I did give more freedom.
Okay.
And when they were older, because I thought in 6 months they're going to be gone. So I want to see how they handle this situation.
Right.
Wise.
So it's just, and each child is different. I don't know. Well, she has twins, but all three are different personalities, different everything. So one size doesn't fit all,
No.
which keeps us on our knees.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
For
Because how does
sure.
anyone do it without
Without
divine
prayer.
intervention?
Do not understand.
Yeah.
Yes. Do not
Do
understand.
not.
It's complex.
So I want to kind of go from New York. Your
Yes.
son is born in New York.
Yeah.
And then what brought you to Texas? And how did you continue with Flowers with Legs? And,
Yes. So COVID
Oh,
brought us to
yes.
Texas. I was still married at the time, but we had been in pretty intense therapy for a while,
Okay.
and it was just becoming more evident that the best thing we could do for our child would be to amicably
Mhm.
separate.
Mhm.
But I definitely felt that needed to happen somewhere other than New York City,
Mm.
because living in New York City once you're a mom changes everything.
Right.
Yeah.
And people do it,
Mhm.
but I did not have the desire to schlep that hard
Right.
Yes.
and for life. And I was an older mom at this
Mhm.
point. I'm in my early 40s.
Okay.
Yes.
And I'm like thinking, you think about the future. What is it going to look like? Getting him to school every day and different things. So when COVID hit, I kind of felt like that was my out,
Wow.
Mm.
because I lived through 9/11.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
I lived through, we were running down the street that day. Like I thought there was warheads going over, war
Right.
planes going overhead.
Mhm.
And I literally thought I was going to die that day. So I just felt like once COVID happened and there's bodies on the street in trucks,
Right.
all your neighbors there was magical moments too, but the city just got more dangerous at that time. And I just felt like with a young kid. So I convinced my husband to rent an Airstream for the summer and tour the country
Oh, wow.
for 2 to 3
I
months.
didn't expect you to say that.
I'm telling you, I have stories.
I love
because
this.
because I'm a
You're
woman
so
of prayer.
inspiring.
Yes, you
Yes. Airstream.
Well,
okay.
Yes.
He sold my house in the Hamptons. I had a beautiful giant, I was going to retire and that was
Mhm.
going to be sort of, we'd rent it out
Right.
every summer. And, that was the plan. We bought it before I got pregnant. That was going to be where I could go to be a sad artist
Right.
Yes.
without children in a lonely marriage.
With a beautiful
And
view.
a lonely childless woman
Right.
painting. And God had other plans,
Yes,
thank God,
as
because
he
I was
always
truly
does.
miserable.
Right.
And so once my son came along, it just became very apparent to me that New York was not it. And so after the house sold, that was my like, oh, okay. Well, the least you could do is rent an Airstream for that. Like, I just had this moment of like, okay, well, we have no home because our apartment in the city, he was renting out.
Okay. Oh.
So I was like, oh, interesting. The middle of a global pandemic and I have no home. So I literally said, okay, I put my foot down. We are traveling and we are going to see if there is somewhere else we could raise our child.
Wow.
And so we went to all the places that I had ever imagined I could live. Savannah, Charleston. There's so many great artists in Charleston. Like we started in New York, went all the way down through Alabama, Florida, and we have a lot of friends like in different places. And so we stayed with friends.
Right.
And when we got to Texas just checked all the boxes and it won out of anything. Because for me, Texas has it all. You know, there's fashion, food, art, culture, rodeo, horses, longhorns. Like, there's what else would you want? And we knew a lot of people here, and so we felt like we would have community. And there were people that had moved here during COVID, moved back home, and had kids that we had our kid with. And so, you know, that just it made sense. And so we packed up, but it was only supposed to be for 6 months. But as I'm packing up, I'm like, once I get out.
No more.
No one's getting me back here.
No more. No more you New York.
So yeah, so I you know, but getting here then, and I don't know how much we want to talk about this, but you know, arriving here, it was like I knew in my mind, I've got to find my life. I've got to find my own life because this is I have to completely change everything. Like you know, so there were many years of just grief and, you know, when you go through divorce, you know, everyone says it's the worst. It's just so, and it was. And one thing I didn't mention is that Flowers with Legs was birthed in a time of deep suffering, deep grief. And they come just naturally when I'm suffering. They just, I do a whole, they just come out because it comforts me and it takes me out of what I'm suffering through and it brings me joy.
Yes.
Something that brings joy.
Yes.
And so when I was pregnant, it was because of my age or I don't know, my body had a hard time. And so I really suffered throughout my pregnancy. I ended up, my water broke in the middle of the night at 30 weeks. And I was all alone because I was at the beach house. And I had to drive myself an hour to the hospital.
Wow.
They're like, yep, that's your water. I drove like with a washcloth, like sitting on a washcloth. And when I got there, I was like, I think my water broke. Can you test this? Is it amniotic fluid?
Wow.
You are such a brave person. Like, I'm so
Courageous.
inspired by you right now.
Well, but if you think about it, like, what would you do if your water broke and you were alone?
Yeah.
And
you have to.
the
You have
hospital's
to,
an hour
yes.
away. And so you're like, okay, I could wait for
I
an
have to do
ambulance.
this.
But like, well, and I called my doctor. She said, get yourself to the nearest hospital.
Okay.
And she said, if that is your water, you are going to be there for a very long time. So I knew leaving my house, I ended up in the hospital for 2 months.
Wow.
I stayed
So they were
pregnant.
able to stop the labor?
So yes, they immediately were like, she's in labor. They moved me to the delivery floor. They put me on the things, magnesium and different things to, you know, and I had said, this baby is not coming.
Not
right
now.
Like he is not cooked.
Not
So
ready.
so the very next day I said to my husband, can you bring me my paints? Because I knew the only way I was going to stay pregnant was to calm myself down and stay joyful.
That's
and
good.
I started making my Flowers with Legs in the hospital.
In the hospital.
And so this is actually like this was a big thing because all of a sudden it isn't like a Flowers with Legs story. There's a woman on bed rest in the hospital who's painting.
Yes.
So then the next thing I know,
You're viral.
viral. It's literally like Fox 5, Today
you
Show,
serious?
Huffington Post, People.com called me. I interviewed with People.com the day after I gave birth because they're like, who is this mom who's like in the NICU making flowers that have legs and stilettos? This is so unique. So that was a very interesting, it's like when I am
God
suffering, when I am
Yes.
not okay, is when God uses
Your
this.
gift.
Right.
Your gift
The
flourishes.
And I will say, I do believe, just like this podcast,
Yes.
when God gives you a gift,
Yep.
the way you know it's God is it's, in my opinion, it's not just for you.
Not
It
just for you.
blesses so many. Like
Absolutely.
God's like, yes,
Right.
it's a gift for you, but it's for everyone. And so that's what happened in the hospital was all the nurses and doctors would come into my room every break. I had OBGYNs painting with me in my room.
You're blessing the whole
Yeah,
hospital.
they're like, how,
Yes.
and that's the power of when God gives you something
Right.
and you're using it, it pulls people in. It's like healing somehow. It's like, so going through divorce here, you can guess what I started to do when I was,
Flowers
in
with
Texas,
legs,
flowers
more.
with legs. And so that's when it really
Okay.
began. It began as a business once I was out of the city on my own, single mom, looking at all my options. And I just felt like, this is it. Here we go. Like
Here
it's
we
now or
go.
never. If
And
you
we are
can't make
so
this work-
grateful.
And I also think that art and being creative can help a lot of people during times of suffering. Because
Everyone.
Yeah.
I
It can
mentioned
help.
to this you last time, but because I don't consider myself an artist at all. My mother would say differently, but I am not an artist. But after my husband died, I had a few artist friends. I've always surrounded myself with creative and artist type people. But I used to go to these painting classes, and they were very small. And I think I told you I used to cry my way through it, but I'm not an artist, but I used to paint, and that was so healing. And just, I would feel you can just, forget the world that's out there, forget everything you're dealing with and all the pain you're feeling, and just focus on the canvas that's in front of you.
I did not realize that.
Yeah.
You had a full on like art healed you moment.
Oh,
like,
most definitely.
You were able to process your emotions and your grief through painting.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And I still have those paintings in my
I would
closet.
love to
I know
see
you
them.
you
I have
asked to
to
see
see
them,
them.
but we'll see.
I didn't realize
But-
you cried.
So let's
Yes.
ask this question. So I know you have workshops.
Mhm.
I do.
And so are your workshops, how do people get involved? And then what do you hope they gain when they come to your workshops?
So for me, you hear it said a lot, oh, I have no talent, or, oh, I always wanted to do this, but I have no talent. And right, this
Yes.
is what keeps us from being artists and painters. And that's what kept me from being a painter was I didn't know how to make something look good. Like I tried and tried, and as much as I tried, I couldn't. But for some reason during the suffering, I didn't care that I couldn't. I was going to do it anyway. And if you look at my very first pieces, you're like, I couldn't make anything look like anything. I knew nothing
That
about
makes me feel better.
any of the
Yeah.
paint. Like it was literally a mess. But over time, over a decade, I just pushed through because I had no choice. It was how I was surviving.
Right.
So over a decade, what it taught me was what works and what doesn't work.
Right.
And it taught me that anyone can do this. Anyone. Because if I could go
Anyone.
from this to making
that.
beautiful
Mhm.
paintings that people purchase after a decade, over a decade,
Mhm.
then I can, what I love, there's a great book that I highly recommend. I've listened to it about 20 times now. It's called Essentialism
Okay.
by Greg McKeown. And he talks about how if you whittle down all the clutter and chaos in your life to the number one essential of like who you are, like the priority,
Right.
singular. And what I found is, this whole idea of like making art simple so that I can teach it very simply and easily so that people realize, yes, I can do this. Like all I need is this tiny little palette, one paintbrush. And if I just move the color in the water, I can create beautiful florals because like I say in my classes, any color on paper with some water and a green stem will look like a flower.
Wow.
So
Yes, and that's what she told us. And I attended one of the workshops recently and I loved it. I was so excited because I'm thinking I'm going to create this inspiration pick. I can't believe I get to go home with this inspiration pick, and I'm going to frame it, and it's going to be fabulous. You know, I'm an artist now. Ooh, my painting looks nothing like that. But what I learned is that that's okay. And like I told you, I love the flowers that I created. It reminds me of the flowers in my
They're
garden.
so you
but
too. Like
it's, yeah.
It has
Everyone
purpose.
made
It
such a
does have
unique-
purpose.
Yes.
Yeah. But I went in thinking that, and then I was
You're going to come out like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going to find myself getting frustrated. But what I also learned is I still have a lot of control and perfectionism in me.
Yes,
That's
which kills. Which perfectionism kills creativity.
You kept telling me, you said I was the best one in the class. I don't believe it, but of
No, it's true.
dancing on the, like,
Yes.
she wants to paintbrush to like dance on the paper. And I would do that. It still didn't look like hers, but I was very proud of. So I appreciate that reminder in your class. And I think a lot of women can benefit from that, because you go in, like, I was scared to even make the little boxes or whatever. Like, I didn't even do them because I was
the
like,
color boxes.
Yeah, it's like, I'm
everyone,
not
you could
doing
hear
that.
a pin drop. Everyone was so
Yes.
nervous.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I can't make those perfect. So I'm not even, she had to do mine. But that's in
Wow.
my mind. I'm thinking, you got some
Wow.
stuff to
But that's
figure
great
out.
that you recognize
Oh,
what
I
was
did.
hindering you.
Yes.
And
yes.
so the next class,
Mhm. Yes,
you'll
I'm
be-
hoping
you'll-
to be
yeah.
freer
Right.
and like really. Whew,
But that also,
go
it's
with
sort of like we spoke earlier about, you know, you learn as you go.
Yep.
Like you
Yes.
just
Yep.
launch, and even if
Right.
it's embarrassing,
Right.
you learn as you
You
go.
jump
And
on
what
out
I'm
there.
finding is making it even simpler. Like I feel like I've created this workshop where people can experience watercolor, but I have to really simplify it even more to the point of maybe just even one singular flower,
Oh.
and having people really watch
Right.
me create that one flower and letting
So
them.
what is the feeling you want people to leave with?
My overall hope is that they discover that creating art is not impossible for someone who doesn't think of themselves as an artist or talented, but that it can be used to regulate yourself emotionally. Like I pass out the emotional color wheel thing for people to try. I don't know if that's going to continue, but that's important for me. If I'm not aware of how I'm feeling, and if I'm not accepting how I'm feeling, I'm blocked creatively. I'm blocked in every way. And I think that's something that blocks a lot of us from being able to make beautiful things, is being so stuck and fighting our emotions. They're uncomfortable, so we don't want them. But when you accept that you're feeling them, you can tell I've gotten therapy, because it takes.
Hey, you're giving me some points.
It takes your marriage failing to get good therapy. But basically, I'm so thankful because I can teach my child. My child, I am telling you, is the most emotionally regulated little kid I've ever met, because he knows how he's feeling. He's comfortable. You know what I mean? So I've been able to teach him how to regulate himself, accept it. So I like to make it almost a healing experience for people, where they're slowing down maybe for the first time. These are very professional women. Like oftentimes these are perfectionists, professional women.
That's awesome.
Who've never done this before.
Yeah.
And getting them to relax and realize this could be an outlet for them to, you know, grieve and suffer and heal through art. I guess it's almost like art therapy.
That's
It
awesome.
kind of is. It's a very relaxing environment too. There's beautiful music playing, and it's a lot of connection going on. I met a really sweet lady, and we just try to, get it together to eat,
This
encourage
is so good
each other.
You're saying this because I'm teaching one of these tomorrow night.
Right.
And so the feedback is so, wonderful, because you think certain things, but when you hear people's experience, especially people who've never done it before.
Right.
So will you tell the people who are watching how they can find out more information about your workshops and more information about you and all the things?
Yes, so I do feel like the simplest way to find me is through Instagram. Flowers W Legs is my handle, and that is where I am the most. But I also have Flowers with Legs, which I try to just keep that just the art. Whereas the other one is more personal with my workshops and everything else.
Okay.
The bigger story quickly is Flowers with Legs was first my personal Instagram, but then it turned into Flowers with Legs.
Okay.
But then my clients
Oh.
would say, where's your personal one?
Right.
So I made a new personal one. And then that one turned into my art.
Oh, okay.
And so I tried to join the two, but Instagram doesn't let you do that
Right.
yet. That's because the thing is, my old Flowers with Legs has all my big clients on it,
Okay.
but it doesn't have any of my new friends and followers and people
Okay.
who are
Flowers
in my
with
life.
W
Right.
Licks.
So now, because I tried to cancel the old one, but you can't take your,
your-
I'm going to
Right.
lose Flowers with
Yes.
Legs so I'm hoping and praying that Instagram makes it
One
day.
possible
Right.
to merge, because I don't want to lose those. I have like big fashion magazine
Right.
accessories directors following it. And if,
Yes.
so Flowers W Legs is where I advertise everything. I also have Flowers with Legs on Facebook and flowerswithlegs.com. And you can always hit me up at flowerswithlegs.com.
Yay. This has been such a
It
fun
is.
show. Like, man, you're fun. We have to bring you
need to
back.
hang
We need a
out.
part two. We need to go to Paris. Like, there's
I
so
know,
many
so
things
much
we
that
need to
wanna
do. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be fun?
That would be so fun.
Me with the two of you in Paris, we
Fabulous.
bicycle everywhere.
Yes,
Okay, but
I
not
love-
at 3 a.m. though.
No.
No, no.
We are in our beds by 10
Yes.
the
Yes.
latest.
The
Yes.
latest
And we're
for
going to
me.
eat good food.
Exactly.
Ooh.
Yes.
Maybe we should do a podcast in Paris.
I think we are. Maybe for my birthday.
For your
Yes.
birthday. So, and
I'll
you have to
come
be
to
our
this-
guest.
Okay,
Yes.
done.
Right.
I'm in.
This was so good, Kristen.
Mhm.
We are so excited. You have spoken so much life into me personally, and I know you've spoken life into the people who are watching. And so thank you again for sharing your story. Thank you for your beautiful art for our podcast. We are forever grateful. So we're so thankful.
Thank you again, Kristen.
My
We loved
pleasure.
having you. And thank you again for joining us for this latest episode of Joyfully Yours. We're so excited you're with us. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and just let us know what you think about this episode. We hope you're encouraged and inspired just as much as we are.
See you next
Bye.
time.